This is John Schaben of the Dunlap Livestock Auction, bringing you our market report from Friday, October 30th, where we had our special Western Iowa pre-conditioned cattle auction, our first one of the season, where we feature all weaned and vaccinated calves. We just had just short of 1,100 head, had quite a few consigners, which kept our draft size pretty small throughout the day, so you guy had to kind of pick and choose to get things put together. I thought the quality of the calves was awesome. They guys get them all weaned, all vaccinated, do a great job in that preconditioning program. Flesh conditions probably getting to where it's not quite as friendly to the buyers. It's been a good fall, and it looks like the calves have done pretty well, and they weighed pretty good, I thought. The market's been under a little bit of pressure here the last few weeks. Showed a little bit on Friday, maybe even particular more to the steers than the heifers. Heifers have been a little tougher commodity the last few weeks for whatever reason. It seemed a little stronger here on Friday. I'll just give you a few quotes from the sale. We had 10 steers weighed 430 pounds, bring a $173. 22 steers 530 at 152.75. 14 steers 576 at 150. 26 steers 611 at 147. 37 steers 665 at 145.75. And had 51 big steers 955. Cattle would they'd be decent quality, carry a lot of flesh, and the weigh up sure be in the seller's favor. Again, pot load of them weighed 955. They bring 124.5. In the heifer division, 17 heifers weighed 443, bring 166 and a quarter. 12 heifers 528 at 149. 13 heifers 687 at 135. So on them heifer calves, you could see the spreads weren't very much between the steers. So that was good on the heifer sellers. 30 heifers weighed 717 at 134 and a quarter, and 20 heifers weighed 786. They'd be the sister mates to the pot load of steers that weighed 127.75. But all in all, I thought it was sure a decent enough cattle auction. Hopefully, with a stronger board this week, maybe we can put a few dollars on these calves just to start realizing a little more money in these producers' pockets. One thing about it, there's no guarantee in this business for it, but it's a lot of work to get those calves raised and get them up, get them all weaned and all vaccinated. And be nice one of these years to see these producers start getting to paying for it. Just a couple things to finish up here, and as we're getting harvest done and everything this fall, still continue. I guess the thing that probably gets one of my biggest burrs in my side is still this lack of mandatory country of origin labeling. It's just driving me crazy as we've watched our imports, which isn't a bit surprising, kind of shoot up through the roof here in the last couple of years once the Packers masterfully got M-Cool repealed, made it a lot easier to operate the way they want. And I'm always quick to point out I'm not opposed to importing cattle. I guess we're going to export, and it's probably right to say that you're not going to do one without the other. As everyone we export, we're pretty proud about putting our label on them, about where they come from. We spent a great deal of money probably to get our cattle all the way all over this world with a Made in the USA label. But that label shouldn't be anything more important than right here at home. And so it's pretty hard to imagine that we can't label our own product to differentiate it in the marketplace from our foreign competitors. And like I've said forever, they are a competitor to us, specifically when they're probably all going to come into this country with lower production costs. One of the big pushes all the time is when they talk about this lean trim and all this lean trim that comes in. And if it comes in, that needs to be differentiated. There's no reason why it shouldn't. And who pays the burden of that is the American cow-calf producer. It artificially lowers, I guess not artificially, because it just plumb lowers the value of these cold cows. A big portion of income for most ranchers out here, and that percolates down through the system. I mean, if we were getting what these cows were worth, instead of supplementing all this lean trim in this country to keep that price low and really to hurt the ranchers, it probably is a bigger incentive to get cows to market, thus changing the whole demographics of cow herd size, demand for replacement heifers, more demand for those replacement heifers, brings the overall calf complex up. I wouldn't have a clue what it cost our cow-calf producers a year, but I mean, it's a significant figure. This country of origin labeling thing, and you talk about an evil circle, you get upset about it, and you visit with your checkoff people, and you say, come on, why can't we put why can't we get these things labeled? And they say, well, that's not that's a policy issue, and we're not involved in policy. And I guess I sort of get that. So where do we have to go to the policy side? We have to go to our National Cattlemen's Beef Association. So what do they tell you about mandatory country of origin labeling? Well, if you're like me and you're in favor of it, they just tell me that I don't understand the issue. I'm just not educated enough. There's probably a lot of truth to that. I've got plenty to learn in life, but this is a pretty simple issue, and it's pretty simply put why you'd want to repeal it. The thing that I don't understand, if the National Cattlemen's Beef Association represents the beef producers in the United States, how they can get by with telling all our political people that we don't want that, because that's just factually not true. The majority of cow-calf producers in the United States, I would venture to guess that it could be, it's not 100%, but it's going to get up there pretty close to that, are in favor of mandatory country of origin labeling. Somehow we got to get that demographics changed. So I'm going to go back to the checkoff thing, and you have a checkoff budget, and I'm going to be real basic here. That's in the the $40-45 million range, of which the National Cattlemen's Beef Association contracts for $37-38 million of that. I mean, probably 85% of the checkoff money goes to the very organization that's undermining what we're trying to do as cow-calf producers. That makes no sense to me. Folks, I don't know what you do about that, except find a way to take that money away from them if they're basically going to use it against us, which puts it to something that I haven't publicly stated that I'm for or against, but a referendum on the beef checkoff. And there are several people that think the only way that we're going to advance their issues in here is basically to defund the National Cattlemen's Beef Association. If that's what you all believe, then I highly encourage you to look at calling for a referendum on the beef checkoff, at least to get an up and down vote for it. And I guess if it gets voted down, that's a confirmation that the producers don't like what's going on out here. You can Google beef checkoff referendum. It's going to come up. You can electronically sign the petition. They've got a year here to gather enough signatures to ask for a referendum on the checkoff, and maybe that's where we've got. There's big issues in front of us. I think there's plenty besides country of origin labeling, but to me it seems to be one of the biggest ones out here, and one of the ones that's most simple, that puts the American cow-calf producer back in the driver's seat, puts them on a level playing field with their foreign counterparts, and really just puts it the same as everything else and every other product that we buy in our country. It does come down to a consumer right to know issue on all things. I mean, and finally, to finish this thing up, as we can bring foreign product into this country and repackage it and then put it as product of the USA, folks, that should be consumer fraud and against the law. So, again, if it bothers you like it's bothering a lot of people out here, I suggest you look into it and you talk to your people and see what you think about it. You're always welcome to call me and we can discuss the subject. Again, this is John Schaben with the Dunlap Livestock Auction. Thank you.